Vow 88.1. Good times, good music, for good.
For good.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sanele Tshazi. Welcome to the VAR 88.1 Business Podcast. This is a platform where we actually put the trailblazers and the people that are in the forefront of entrepreneurship and also mentorship as well. And today, it's no different. We've got one of the greatest to ever do it in business. We've got a person that actually puts capital and community together. Someone who actually thinks of what we say township is the best place to actually be. We've got the CEO and the founder of ATL Capital Partners, Mr. Ben Kodisang. How are you doing, sir?
Hi, Sanele.
How are you doing?
No, very good, thanks, sir.
I'm very well, thanks. It's really great to actually have you on the podcast today. I think you actually one of the people that I have personally kind of like looked at from the background, right? And say you kind of like a mentor to me. So I really appreciate having to actually sit down with you today. There's a lot to actually talk about, but to actually just start off the conversation, let me just find out a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up and how was your upbringing?
No, thank you for that. Always a good place to start. By the way, it's alt capital, not ALT.
Okay.
Just to manage my brain.
That's correct.
But yeah, no, I hail from Soweto, from Rockville. I grew up there. Eldest of 3 siblings.
Got it.
Dad, electrician, mother, kind of like a nurse, but she went the academic route and retired as, what do you call him? Deputy or whatever, principal.
Got it. Yes,
Baraganath College.
Yeah. That's wonderful. And your upbringing, did you have people that you looked up to when it comes to business? Were there people that you actually looked up to actually say, this is the person that I aspire to be like?
Yeah, Rockville was a special place.
Yeah.
If I look at what that small part managed to produce, Bosem Shabalala,
That's great. They're great.
They're great. They're great. Yeah. So I had lots of inspiration.
And now Ben Kodisang.
To steer us on, yeah.
Yeah. You've actually positioned yourself to be a driving force behind transformation. Especially when it comes to investments in Africa. How has that actually been for you as the person that's actually coming from a township?
Yeah, such a good question, eh? So I guess we all grow in, they call it pain points.
Yeah.
So I guess in my upbringing, I got a scholarship that took me to a very posh private school at St.
Stithians, yes.
It was mainly the first cohort of black people in the 80s that were going through that sort of transformation, right?
That's correct.
But politically in the townships, it was also very volatile. It was the era of the comrades, the people's education. So I found my life was a bit of a hybrid, if I can call it like that.
Yeah.
So I guess for me personally, then it started the whole process of change, which is what I call transformation.
Yeah.
I saw a lot wrong in terms of the discourse or divergence between my life in the townships on weekends and my life in this posh private school during the week.
Yeah.
So I felt compelled then to doing something to close that gap over my lifetime, yeah.
And then how has actually, being a chartered accountant and also an investor as well, kind of like shaped your vision of how the transformation of South Africa should actually be?
Yeah, so I'm one of those that was going to be a doctor up until standard 9. So I'm giving away my age. Grade 11 today.
Yeah, grade 11.
Until I went to ICU in Barra and I decided definitely this is
not,
So I started matric not quite being sure.
Yeah.
And during career guidance, we had a chartered accountant that came for career guidance. And he left me with the words that if you want to do anything impactful in business, it's a very good qualification to have. So, and for me, being lazy, it kind of like defined the next 7 years, right?
Yeah.
Of becoming one post school. So I'll say that was one motivating factor. But it was clear for me, in as much as you learn a lot when you audit about business and companies, different industries. I felt I didn't quite have the personality of an auditor. And investments was mainly where my interest lay.
Yeah.
It was clearly aspirational since I had never managed a cent on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange.
That's correct.
And but the driving force for me was to have a skill that would be uniquely me that no one will take away.
Yeah.
I think actually I was inspired by Whitney Houston. They may take away, but they can never take away your dignity. Do you remember that song?
Yeah.
So I wanted to have a skill and that will allow me to do that with my career. Yeah. So the two go hand in hand for me. Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah. No, that's really inspirational, to actually see, how you actually started in the business world. And I just want to actually also unpack, the article that I actually wrote about you on LinkedIn. And it was really profound to actually see a whole lot of people saying, well done, Ben. There's a lot of people that actually look up to you. And it seems like you've actually inspired so many people as well. How does that feel when you actually get so many people actually looking up to you and what you've done? And I'm sure you're looking at yourself like, I haven't even done enough already.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just starting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the pressure.
Yeah.
And the pressure, I guess, I always say that you find entrepreneurs, right? I started after a 25-year corporate experience. So I feel like I started from experience.
Yeah.
And if you look at the property industry, it's had a fair mix of, I suppose, results when it comes to Black-founded property businesses.
Yeah.
And in many respects, when we sit around this boardroom, we carry that load to say we need to have a visible success so that others can emulate and follow.
Yeah.
So that we
like
can
a
use
blueprint.
like a blueprint.
Yeah.
So we take the privilege, I guess, that we have to open those doors and make it possible for others to realize it is possible.
Yeah.
And I got lucky in my life by being made managing director of a mutual property, which was quite a big property business at the age of 34, with zero property experience, but clearly a lot of investment experience.
Yeah.
And I felt that someone took a chance on me. And with that opportunity, clearly I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of those lessons is what I'm trying to materialize as part of this journey at the moment. So, yeah, the encouragement is noted. It fuels the car and it's appreciated.
Yeah.
But it's not something that I focus on because I'll say what fuels us is clearly internal. It's about, I suppose, restoring dignity to those that are being left behind. So clearly I'm acutely aware of the, I was going to say unintended consequences, but the intended consequences of apartheid spatial planning, the, I suppose, breakdown of family structures through the migrant labor system. So, yeah, so with our fund called Reimagine, it's precisely that. So we are obsessed that it is possible to create prosperity with purpose. So we do specifically target townships, target rural areas as well as peri-urban, and all to address income inequality, create jobs, drive economic growth, and do it in such a manner that no one is left behind and everyone's dignity is restored.
That's correct. And I think, well, looking at the fund, I just want us to actually unpack it a little bit, It is redirected to township businesses, and also the infrastructure. What are the main pain points that you're actually trying to address when it actually comes to this fund?
Yeah, so we position it as a social impact fund. And I guess in order to do so, we needed to start with what are the national pain points.
That's correct, yeah.
And the National Development Plan articulates it quite well. It's a triple L's of income inequality, poverty, the high unemployment, specifically youth, specifically women, as well as a lack of growth. So I'll say at a high level, we are trying to address those, as well as also clearly factoring that the state of our municipalities are what they are. We also need to play our part then in terms of energy security, water, waste on the infrastructure side.
Yes.
As well as clearly being innovative and creative in terms of how we create jobs through our investment activities by building the shopping centers. And I can touch on that a little bit later.
Yeah, definitely. and obviously looking at, the township, framework and also the economy as well. We've seen like a lot of people kind of like neglecting it. And I think it's very important that people need to actually highlight how it's possible to actually come from the township and also have a business there that's also thriving. So this initiative kind of like looks at all those people that are on that platform and clearly states where you actually want to go as well, right? How accessible is it to just a layman person, especially in the rural areas, right? How accessible is it for them to actually get the fund?
Yeah, so I like the public discourse.
Yeah.
Public discourse is, are township markets informal? Are they formal? Or are they disorganized?
Yeah, yeah.
But a lot of people, I guess, have been trying to quantify the size, and they're quite big. I mean, they talk about an economy of 900 billion rands worth, which is significant.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's an ecosystem that even growing up in the townships, I'll say I do not fully understand myself.
Yeah.
Because in studying economics, you kind of like understand the macro drivers.
That's correct.
When you look at these townships and how money circulates and what informs it, it's rather interesting, right? But anecdotally, clearly, we see that there's a lot of money. So Capitec is showing us that from nowhere to
they're doing
being one of the largest banks.
Yeah.
I was saying to my colleagues that I listened to a consumer conference and there were a lot of fintechs that were talking to us.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite appreciate the size of the payments market, right? Because remember, it's all about trade.
Yeah.
So we're growing from the barter system to formalized, but now fintech introduces tech into this ecosystem. And then soon after that, I saw Nedbank buying a company called Ikoka.
Yes.
And this company was only founded in 2012. So it's hardly 20 years old.
Yeah.
And they sold it, or Nedbank acquired it for 1.7 billion.
Yes.
So it gives you
That's
kind
impressive.
of like an idea that it's a very powerful market. But even if you look at our demographics, right, it's where the population is.
Yeah.
And where also there's a lot of government support. If you look at what's the social welfare system that we have in the government has, it's got a fancy name I can't remember, but that's allowance that government gives its populace. But there's a lot of entrepreneurs, so there's a lot of trade and life. Yeah, it's exciting.
And then also working with government, has there been an opportunity for ALT as well to actually come in and actually work with government? You know, there's like a whole lot of I think government organizations like the NYDA, CIFDA, who have come in and tried to actually, you know, break that little bit of stigma to say, guys, come in. We actually want you to actually work with us. And if you need that capital, please come through.
Yeah, it's been a long slog, my brother.
Yeah.
We started with rural development because a lot of our activities talk to what that department is trying to achieve. But unfortunately, it did not materialize to anything. And clearly, a lot of what we do is social infrastructure. Yeah. And the unfortunate part in terms of how our development finance institutions, the IDCs, the Development Bank, even the international DFIs, they're not quite good. They don't see shopping centers or real estate as a lever to eradicate poverty. They see it more or less in terms of private equity in the main. Yeah. So how can you support businesses as opposed to supporting those that are creating opportunity for business? Yeah. So the dialogue continues. So I think the more we talk, the more we'll find each other. And funny enough, I recently was given this opportunity to speak at this Western Cape Investment Summit. And my topic was really that. How can we create coherence between national priorities and how province thinks around the policies and how city or municipalities actually capacitate business to doing business, right? And providing access to capital, access to, I guess in our world, we need approvals in terms of zonings, etc. And how you can coordinate those so that we can move quickly, right? Because the problem we're trying to solve is big, and I'm not so sure whether we've got the benefit of time because our poverty levels are quite high.
Yeah.
As you know,
Yeah.
1 in 2 people are not guaranteed a meal in a day.
Yeah. So looking at the infrastructure that you're trying to actually build as well, I know your main focus is youth. Why is that? Why is that the main focus right now?
The youth is the future, bro. No, I mean, it's a time bomb.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have youth unemployment at the levels that it's in. Our youth have energy, they've got ambitions, they've got inspirations, and if the system fails them, the youth will fail the system.
That's correct.
So we're trying to address it in balance and doing our little contribution to keeping them focused, giving them an opportunity so that they can also, I suppose, do their hustle, right?
Yeah, yeah. I've seen a whole lot of youth, especially at VOW. We work with a whole lot of young people. We see the energy. We see that they actually want to have a huge impact. But the opportunity is one of the things that is really lacking. And obviously, I think when it comes to also mentorship, which is one of the biggest questions that I like asking people. And you, one of the people that's also in the forefront, and I've said before, like you're a trailblazer in the business world. So when it comes to mentorship, the access to youth, is that something that is relatively quite easy for that to happen? Or are we kind of like blocking off the people that will be the future of this country?
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways of skinning the cat, right? Yeah. I'll answer it in 2 ways. I'll share what I've done personally and what I'm doing personally, and I'll share how we're doing it within Alt and Reimagine. Let me start with Alt and Reimagine.
Yeah.
So I'll just cite, we've just done a shopping center in Vosloorus. So I just cite what's around us as opposed to going too far. And how we went about it then to make sure that we address the addressable market. With our construction partner, we actually did a skills audit of the community around Lesedi.
Yes.
How many are electricians, how many are plumbers, how many are in podcasts, etc.
Yeah.
And then understanding then the universe is then we did the job hustles, because then clearly to move from land to construction and development, we actually focused, we were very deliberate around then the jobs that we wanted to create. So on youth in particular, we said, we know they don't know what they don't know and they don't know anything, but they need an opportunity. So we gave literally an opportunity to young people just to walk around the site and work with the engineers, work with the electricians, so that they can see the process of converting land into a shopping center. Yes. Despite clearly the value chain where we supported Black businesses and women-owned businesses, but we account for it because that's part of our mandate. Yeah. So I can tell you that with that small development, we created over 1,000 jobs. Majority were youth. About 358 of those were youth. Women employment, women support was also quite big.
That's impressive.
Including, I suppose, also trying to leave something for the community, right? Yeah. So we partnered with the community on this development. And because we carry the skill set, we also wanted to somehow transfer the skill set so that post us, at least the community is arranged to do it on their own with another opportunity. Yeah. So we had a steer call. With a steer call, we exposed them to Council of Shopping Centre so that they can meet with these retailers that we deal with, so that they can meet with the property industry, which was in Cape Town. And I'm sure some of them, it was the first time flying from Joburg to Cape Town. So those are rich experiences that make a difference, right? Yeah. Yeah, and me personally, I've done it in a variety of ways. Where, funny enough, LinkedIn has been a platform where some of them have reached out, and some of them tell me such compelling stories that I feel moved to spending time. Yeah. Yeah, so I've been blessed in my 30 years or so to have touched many lives that I've seen grow up from ground zero into very significant contributions in the economy.
Yeah, because as I said, I look at you and I read your story. And for me, you've become a mentor without having to actually sit with you and go every single day to actually understand what you do. And I really appreciate that from my side. And I think a lot of people do actually see the same thing. And that's how they actually appreciated the post that I actually put up. And they're like, oh, if you're speaking about babe, Kodisang, you're speaking about the right person. And that was really impressive for me. So I just also want to touch on the point where, when it comes to training, are there a whole lot of skills that we still need to actually train within the property sector as well, and also investments, where we need to actually get the younger people to actually come in and become players?
Yeah, very, very good question. I went to the South African Property Owners Association.
Yes.
I just happened to also be one of the past presidents of the organization a few while ago. But anyway, I was at this year's conference explaining to a youngster how my first conference was 20 years ago. And 20 years ago, I was telling them that I could count black people literally with my hands, right? Yeah. There were less than 10. And the difference between 2005, no?
Yes.
to 2025 was how much transformation has taken place. But it's been, I suppose, deliberate efforts by the industry in a few ways. So one is they've now, I think they started a bursary scheme 2008, 2009, somewhere thereabouts. And through that bursary scheme, they've actually sponsored a lot of black students for their academic studies.
Yeah.
There's lots of VETs, lots of UCT, etc. And over time, I think that's a big money. Sorry, that's a big number.
Yeah.
They've also worked quite closely with the wholesale or the seaters. Let me call them the seaters, because industry touches on different professions along this value chain, to also try use some of that money to create learnership. So there have been a few players that have taken learnerships to create an opportunity for the young ones to, I suppose, have an employment experience. So there's been many, many initiatives that I'll say the industry has done. And I can visibly see it in terms of how it has transformed over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
It's a journey, yeah? So it's
a journey.
It's not like we've arrived.
Yeah.
But it is good to see black businesses like ourselves. We're not unique, but it's good to see that. It's good to see that. I mean, recently the number one top performer on the Business Times JC performance was Dipula.
Yeah.
I remember when Isaac or Dipula started, you know what I mean? So it's encouraging to see black business over the last 20, 25 years literally performing at the apex of, I don't like to call it black excellence, at the apex of excellence, full stop.
Yeah.
But it's all inspiring,
Yeah, we shouldn't actually put race when it comes to having to do the work. You know, if you need to actually do what you're supposed to, then just do it. And we've actually quite seen, the G20 happening. And we've seen the support throughout the world. The globe has actually looking at South Africa and saying they actually are doing very well. You know, we see them in the forefront of wanting to actually change climate change, whether it's also poverty and all those type of stuff. Has that been one of the dynamics that your business actually looks at as well? To actually working with, especially foreign investment, with the B20 as well. I've seen that there's about 1.7 billion. There's a fund that's also open there, which is for the youth. And I've seen that there's going to be a huge drive to actually start getting into that and leveraging from that as well. Is that something that quite takes, the forefront in your business?
Yeah, clearly, the environment is everything, right? And I always say that we don't give ourselves enough credit as South Africans, because for a population of 65 million, we actually punch way above our weight, right?
Yeah.
In soccer and rugby, clearly, and the arts.
We compete with the
with the best in the world.
Yeah.
And all that sentiment is very positive to attracting, I guess, foreign inflows in terms of capital.
Yeah.
Attracting business to also come and operate and help us create the jobs that we need to sustain our economy, etc. So I was very pleased with the performance of the G20 and B20 because they came, right? Except for those other ones that had different agendas.
Yeah, we
for
don't
not
want to talk
coming.
about them right
But
now.
there was extremely good support.
Yeah.
I mean, what did I call it? The leadership statement was adopted.
Yes.
And it's addressing, again, all issues of national importance, right? Solidarity, inequity, and as well as sustainability. So as players, as I said, we want to attract foreign DFI money because then we need capital to do what we do, and the more we have, the more we can do, right?
Yeah.
So money makes everything go around. Yeah, so it's quite encouraging to see these funds being set up for specific agendas or investment thesis.
Yeah, it is really impressive of what has actually happened now throughout the small time that the G20 was actually happening and also the B20. And I'm also always thinking about the youth. The youth always seems to have issues with finding information. I think podcasts are actually one of the places to actually also start, getting a whole lot of information. And it's people like you who actually give us the opportunity to actually come and speak about these things. So I really do want to actually commend you on that because it's not easy. You sit in a lot of boards. You said, you are CEO of a few companies. So it's not that easy to actually get hold of you. So I really do appreciate the fact that you've given us some time to actually be on our podcast as well.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And looking at the challenges, what challenges have you actually gone through trying to get into business as well and to actually reach out, especially to the township market and the rural economy?
The struggle of entrepreneurs, it is real.
Yeah.
People ask me, what is a recipe? And
I was actually getting there. I wanted to find out what the
recipe
blueprint is.
the problems that we try to solve.
Yeah.
And I always say, in life, it starts with clarity of the problem that you're trying to solve.
Yeah.
So all of us in this business are from townships, and we all grew with exclusion. We all grew with, I suppose, parents that were trying to make ends meet. We all had to use public transport to move from A to B. We all had to go from the townships, travel 70 kilometers at times to go have access to goods and services, to have access to jobs.
Yeah.
And we all had to be at the mercy of corporate, which was by its face traditionally white, and beg for an opportunity to prove ourselves. And even when you are in the system, we also then had to struggle with so-called issues of imposter syndrome, struggle with issues of working 100x compared to 10x so that A and B can... so all those things are trauma, right?
Yeah.
So now I unashamedly say I started my entrepreneurial journey because I had had enough of the trauma. And the only way of healing is to do it yourself.
Yeah.
With people that understand where you come from, with people that can support, I suppose, your journey and your vision. So that's what the last 7 years has been like. But back to your problem statement, clarity of the problem you're trying to solve. Work hard and be clear that you are the best at solving that problem in the world, right?
Yeah.
That's why for townships rural, because we're from there, we think we are uniquely positioned to do it as well as we are compared to, I guess, how other players are doing it.
Yeah.
And just relevancy, just understanding that you're doing it for others, right?
Yeah.
I think in life we also need to, at a spiritual and high level, understand that we are here to serve.
That's great.
If we can use the privilege of life to leave the world a better place for the youth and future generations, then I'll say it's a life well lived, right?
Yeah. I know there's a lot of initiatives that you've actually done before. How will you now actually measure the success of this very initiative, because there's a lot of metrics that you have to look at. How will that actually happen for you?
Yeah, so I'm in the investment industry, so it's an ego industry.
Yeah.
So I had to moderate my ego. I remember in my younger days, I managed a business for one of the life companies that made R1 billion of profits, and it had like 100 billion rands of assets under management.
Yeah.
So when we started here, we aspired to get to 1 billion. So at least in our first equity raise, we get to 1.3 billion. So very pleased. And over the last 3 years, we've seen at least 1.3 grow by another billion to the 2.3 billion rands that it is today.
Yeah.
And clearly we have aspirations to double that to 5 billion, double it again to 10.
Yeah.
But that's a journey ahead. So that's one matrix in terms of assets and under management.
Yeah.
I guess they say revenue is vanity, cash flow is reality.
Yeah.
So we have to clearly generate a return for our investors. So we aspire in everything that we do to make sure that we make that money work, because at the end of the day, the money belongs to the public of South Africa that are saving for retirement. So we take the responsibility then of making sure that we do our part to ensure that when they retire, they can retire with confidence and well-being.
Yeah.
And then within our other matrix, we're very big to say our environments need to have energy security. So we do a lot in terms of solar. But then we don't want solar just in our shopping centers. We want the access when wheeling legislation is allowed to also do same for the community.
Yes.
Same with water on boreholes that we do for security, but the communities around must be able to benefit from that.
Yeah.
The jobs that we create, the quality of them, etc. So we've got a whole bunch of metrics here. Social as well as economic in terms of how we judge ourselves in terms of how we're producing.
Yeah, because giving back is actually one of the best ways to actually look at the metrics and the success of any investment of this magnitude. And looking at the vision, right, township and rural economies, where do you see it in the next 5 to 10 years, especially with an initiative like this, where you actually reinvest into the township space and the rural space as well?
Yeah, good question. And I remember when I was a teenager, right, looking at Joburg to Pretoria. Okay, you look younger than me. But it used to feel like such a long trip because there was nothing between those 2 points. Fast forward to many years later with everything. You don't feel the space between those two cities because of the infrastructure investments that has taken place.
In between.
Whether it's in Midrand, from industry in terms of factories, to residential, to shopping centers. So I carry the vision then of our townships and rural areas also being the same as what you see in Sandton today, with infrastructure, with residential that's the best in the world, that houses the people, roads that don't have potholes, shopping centers so that people can access whatever they need, and industry around it. So I thrive for normalization, so that there is no difference between whether you're urban, whether you're in township, or you're peri-urban.
Yeah.
You can have all your needs fulfilled within those communities.
Wow. Look, just listen to that. It's really inspiring, to actually see, your vision actually, crossing over and making everyone actually seem the same. Well, a lot of people will still have questions like, but then I'm in the rural areas. I think things are still way too further from me. I'm not close to Stanton where I can actually see Ben at a shop and I can actually greet him. So what you've actually just highlighted right now, it's access, to actually make sure that access is there for every single person, which is really plausible. And when we actually look at also legacy as well, what would you like the fund to ultimately be remembered for?
It's called reimagine, right? It's to say, let's not be satisfied with status quo. Let's use our God-given talents, and our brain is one of them, to imagine. And let's use that imagination to solve real problems. And those problems have to, as I said, better the environment for those that come after us. And for reimagine itself, I see I'm still relatively young, not as that young, but I still see a 20-year runway. So in my 20-year runway, I would love literally for this business to at least be about 20 billion.
Yeah.
Would love, I mean, we in 7 out of 9 provinces as we speak. I would love to be in all of them.
Yeah.
And in most municipalities, wherever that takes us. And I guess, at a personal level, it would be nice to say that we contributed to creating 100,000 jobs.
Oh.
That'll be pleasing.
Yeah.
A million sounds better, but I'm trying to temper my expectations.
That's a good challenge, yeah.
But that'd be nice to say, through our investment activities, we contributed to making that tangible difference to the communities that we serve.
Yeah. And to a young entrepreneur right now, either in the township or the rural area, what advice would you actually give them to say, you can also start, as I also started from the township?
Different touch points. Let me start at a high level first.
Yes.
To say that for me, it was quite a indictment, right? To say that the money that informs the savings and investments of this country, and it's big numbers, right? It's about 8 trillion. And out of that 8 trillion, let's say about 94% of it is invested in the JSE.
Yes.
And if you unpack that, then you could argue that a little of it finds itself in the real economy, right?
That's correct.
So I'm a big advocate then to saying that private markets are a way of channeling capital into SMMEs, into infrastructure, hospitals, schools, affordable housing, student accommodation, because it physically touches the economy, right?
Yeah.
So that's one point. The other point is it will also be an indictment, because a lot of people that are saving for their retirement invariably come from townships, invariably come from rural areas.
Yeah.
It'll be very sad if after they've worked for 35 years, when they go back home, they don't have the same level of infrastructure as what you see in the cities. So I think we do have a responsibility to make that element of a difference. And to the young ones, as I said, don't be limited, right? There's no apartheid. There's no limitation. The world is open.
People can actually argue that point, though.
Have the courage. I mean, we've got technology that has literally disrupted in terms of providing access, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we had to go to libraries to get informed about. You can get in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Through your little
You don't need
phone,
an encyclopedia.
right? You don't need an encyclopedia. Yeah. So be curious, right? Be curious. Understand that life is not singular. So collaborate, make friends, make networks. And don't be shy, right?
Yeah.
The worst you can get is no. So don't be shy when you say, I want access to Ben, how do I?
Yeah.
Be innovative, right?
Yeah.
And as we're speaking, though, I'll plant this for you to say, one of my visions, sorry, I'm making this up, no?
Okay.
Is to use your podcast to actually start engaging the communities that we touch, right? Because it's academic at our level. It's at a one perspective.
That's correct.
And it'd be nice if we can do similar by interviewing the youth, the women, the shoppers, to effectively determine what difference has our activities made to their lives.
Yeah. That's something that we actually are thinking about. I think we need to actually get both perspectives, and not just be one-sided. That's really remarkable. And also,
and that can be sponsored by Reimagine.
hey, I'm not going to stop that one. I'm really not going to stop that one. I'm actually speaking to my team right now, and they're looking at me like, okay, that seems kind of like a cool idea. Yeah. I think that's set in stone. Where do we sign? And looking at the people that actually aspire to become investors as well. What could be their drive to actually get into investments and for them to actually have the same impact as you?
I went to this evening last week, which was also done by one of my friends who does amazing work in terms of working with youth to channel them and purpose them for the future. And the conversation was around the psychology of money, right?
Yeah.
And then I suppose growing up and interacting with all these amazing people that I've had the privilege of meeting, I actually realized we don't talk money very often, right?
Yeah.
Somehow it's a sin to talk about it at home because as the breadwinner,
Yep.
you don't want your partner to know how much you have because all you fear is I want to spend it or take it away.
Yeah.
But if you look at successful families, is normalizing the conversation around money.
Yeah.
Because you do need it to clearly sustain your bottom pyramid in terms of Maslow. And clearly, you also need it to allow you to move up in terms of self-actualization. No?
Yeah.
And then again, back to our townships, rural areas, we've got Makgotla. What's another name for that? The saving schemes.
Oh, yes. Like Stockville.
Stockfields, thank
Yes.
you. I was looking for that word.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
But then, if you think about it, it's one way of collaborating, it's one way of saving, it's one way that has actually bettered the lives of people.
Yeah.
So the one aspect of the equation then is there, right? Because if you think about it, they'll identify talent, they'll back it.
Yes.
Okay, so we just need to do a little bit more of supporting talent that's got potential.
Yeah.
And then secondly then is to also then have curiosity to say maybe instead of putting my money in a deposit account or a cash account, let me start speaking with people that manage money so that I can improve my level of awareness to say how else can I invest this money so that it just grows above the deposit rate.
Yeah.
But the more conversations we have, we improve our awareness. And I guess with that is just courage to taking a step, right, to doing it differently. But I think, the building blocks are all there. It's just, I suppose, a matter of connecting them and giving opportunity.
Yeah. It's just closing off, with the conversation. I think you're truly inspiring. You're a trailblazer. You kind of like the architect of where the future is actually going. And we really do appreciate that. Having said that, what would you like to be remembered as, or for? How would you want people to actually look at this podcast in the next 10 years and say, Ben Kodisang changed my life because of this?
Something likes asking deep questions. Okay, let's go deep.
Okay,
so when I was lost in life, the same entrepreneurship is also a self-discovery journey, right?
It is.
So as I was in that journey of self-discovery, I did some work then that created clarity on what I call my life mission statement. So my life mission statement then is to co-create a world of joy and fulfillment, and I do that by caring. So what does that mean? I then also had to understand what my superpower is. So my superpower is connection, right? The way my brain works, I've got an amazing ability of connecting isolated information into coherent stories that make impact, right? I've also got an amazing ability to connect at the human to human level. So all that means then is how I judge my day when I give gratitude at the end of the day is that every meeting or life I have touched, did I bring joy and fulfillment into that interaction? So if I look back at this, but you the only judge is how was the energy flow? And did I add value or bring joy and fulfillment to your life? And likewise to your audience. But to me, that's my absolute, to say I thrive then to do just that. So if at the end of life, I can look back at my life to say, as a result of the privilege of living that I've had, did I put my God-given talents to bringing joy and fulfillment to the world? And did I care? And clearly the corollary of that, opposite of that, is I do create chaos and destruction by not caring.
You are intentional, you're fearless, you're rooted, in impact, and we applaud you for that. So thank you very much for actually sitting with us today. I'm sure this is one of many conversations that we're still going to have. And I still hold you to that partnership that you're going to have, in the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much to Mr. Kodisang. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
It has been a brilliant time with you, and hopefully a lot of people will have access to you so that the future can be much more brighter than what it is right now.
Thank you very much, sir. Sure.
Vow 88.1. Good times, good music, for good.
For good.